Joyce, you know I'm going legal with you first. There's so much happening with this Adams story. What's your reaction?
Well, I think the reaction is to really applaud the courage and the heroism of the prosecutor in New York who resigned rather than effect what's really just an unconscionable order to dismiss a case for transparent political purposes, but also the prosecutors in the District of Columbia who immediately upon learning that that case was being transferred to them, they backed her up. They resigned too. We're seeing incredible courage from folks in the Justice Department. It's unfortunate that their courage is necessitated by the fact that DOJ's new leadership has none of their own.
But what does that say, right? That she would write this scathing letter, right? Danielle Sassoon, I think she's something like 38 years old. It's not like she's in the back half of her career, ready to be done. She's at the top of her career. These other five attorneys, they could be throwing their careers away. These are their livelihoods, right? A scathing public letter that the whole world sees to Pam Bondi. What does that tell us?
You know, I would characterize it a little bit differently, Steph. I would call it a very principled, well-reasoned letter. And you're right to say she's at the top of her game. This is really just the start for her. She was a deputy chief in this office. But I think it's important for people to understand a little bit about who she is. She was hired during a Democratic administration by Preet Bharara, but she's a card-carrying member of the Federalist Society. She clerked for Justice Antonin Scalia, a conservative legend. In other words, this isn't someone who was hired as a prosecutor because of her politics. She was hired because of her commitment and her competence. And she's done a number of really important cases, including a human trafficking case that centered on a dad at Sarah Lawrence, where she put that defendant in prison for 60 years. I mean, this is someone who understands the importance of holding integrity in the Justice Department, because once you give away that integrity, you can't credibly go to your community.
Joyce, I remember that story. That Sarah Lawrence dad is one of the most twisted things I have heard in modern history. And I know you're not an immigration expert, but explain this, Joyce, because what the federal government, it sounds like they wanted, they were looking for Eric Adams to play ball. And what they're getting from him is that he's now going to let federal agents into Rikers Island. What's wrong with that? If there are illegal immigrants that are criminals, why wouldn't ICE be allowed to go there?
Yes, so let me give you my take on what's going on. If you've got people who are here without lawful immigration status who are criminals, there's an easy way to get them when they're at Rikers. You put a federal detainer on them, and they're released when they're released from Rikers into the custody of the United States Marshal. They're not going anywhere. It seems more likely that what they were interested in here was the federal government, which is looking to boost its mass deportation numbers. You know, they've struggled, frankly, to meet the claims that they had of mass deportations. And so they're looking for people who are here without permission, but who have not committed any crimes, people who aren't violent, people who aren't even committing property crime, but people who are working, flipping burgers, caring for people's children. These are civil immigration violations, and that's what the New York City Council had prohibited. They had, because they're a sanctuary city, you could no longer go in for these civil enforcement actions. That, I think, is what Tom Homan, Trump's, border czar, is trying to bust through so he can increase the population of people that are eligible for him to arrest and deport and then claim political points for it.
All right, let's talk about Eric Adams, John, because he is claiming that this was a weaponization of justice that he faced because he criticized President Biden's immigration policies. But here's the thing. The investigation into Eric Adams started even before he was elected mayor.
Yeah, this is a ridiculous argument, Stephanie. And Donald Trump said that he was going to drain the swamp in Washington. I guess he's not interested in draining swamps elsewhere. I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning here is. The pursuit of justice here seems so terribly perverted. I'll let lawyers speak to the question of, whether the Justice Department can make this kind of a deal. But as far as, Eric Adams' argument here that he was, the victim of weaponization, it's not worth the paper that it's printed on.
Isaac, these resignations are the most high-profile resistance we've seen to the Trump administration within the federal government so far. Do you think we're going to see more of it?
Well, I don't know that Emil Bove is sorry to see officials who don't want to go with the program take themselves out of the picture. I mean, part of what's going on here, as you mentioned, with the reduction in force, is flushing out anyone who isn't on board with what Pam Bondi has described as the mission of the Justice Department, which is to do whatever the president wants. And what's so interesting about Danielle Sassoon's letter is her argument for, that's not how the law works. That's not a conservative FedSoc, like Joyce said, Scalia clerk's view of what it means to be a prosecutor.
All right, Luke, help us understand this story about the federal government taking back $80 million from New York City, money that is designated to address the migrant crisis. Now, if you don't like the way the money is being spent, that's one thing. But this isn't about new programs. This money was already congressionally approved. Can they just take it back?
Right. Well, they just did it, whether or not they can legally, and I'm sure New York City is going to fight them on this. But there's a bit of a competition going on right now between Donald Trump's cabinet secretaries to see who can sort of cut their agencies the deepest and scare the most workers into resigning or push the most people out. And so in this case, you have the clawing back of $80 million. Obviously, the comptroller of New York is raising big alarms about this because they were counting on that money to house migrants. It was FEMA money. It was approved by Congress. And think about the shockwave this sends to states and local officials across the country who get grants, who get FEMA money. If at any moment the Trump administration can just take that money back out of their budgets, just in the blink of an eye, you're going to have a lot of mayors and city councils and governors around the country who are in a sense of fear tonight that the money they thought they had to work with can all of a sudden be disappeared.
John, let's talk about these mass firings, mass government firings. This could be hundreds of thousands of people. What happens when they're gone? What happens to the work they were doing, the programs they were working on?
Well, look, I mean, the president is trying as best as he can to kneecap the federal government in as many ways as he possibly can. Obviously, went after USAID first, which is, foreign aid is something that is poorly understood among the American public, something that is easily demonized. Went after that FEMA money. And by the way, that program with the money going to New York is actually a Customs and Border Protection program that is funded through FEMA. It's a sort of a joint thing because Customs and Border Protection doesn't have its own sort of grant-making system. So FEMA ends up giving those grants as a result of something that's really a Customs and Border Protection issue. But as far as the federal government goes, you're right. It could be hundreds of thousands of workers. I think we'll wake up in the morning and get a little bit more information about just who is going to be reduced. These reductions in force certainly has the ability, the president, I think, certainly has the ability to fire people who have been on this probationary status. But you're right. There will be a lot of jobs that aren't being done. And right now you've got a lot of fighting going on in the courts. But Donald Trump, I think, believes possession is 9/10 of the law. And what he's doing is encroaching as far as he possibly can and letting the courts figure it out while he continues to take a baseball bat to the legs of the federal government.
But I guess I keep going back to the work because these firings came just a few hours after Elon Musk said entire government agencies need to be deleted. He compared them to weeds, saying if you don't remove them by the roots, the weeds can grow back. But here's the thing. If you don't like these agencies, if you think they're redundant, fine. But neither Elon Musk nor the president nor anyone else is getting behind the podium and explaining to the American people, this agency is shut down. But these programs, these needs that you have, here's who's going to run it and here's who to call. Isaac, where is that going to happen? When is that going to happen?
I think you have to put together all the things that we're talking about here. I mean, you've got a Trump administration that is describing their view that everyone who works in the entire executive branch is answerable directly to the president, has to do whatever the president says, including when it comes to prosecuting the violations of the law or not. Then you've got them saying that they don't have to spend money that Congress appropriated if they don't feel like it. So Congress can't tell them what to do. Then you've got a vice president who's out there saying that the courts can't prevent them from implementing their policies, so the courts can't tell them what to do either. Well, what is that called?